Yo, what is up guys? My name is Grizzly, and today I'm gonna bring you a Ryze guide for top lane. The reason for why I'm covering Ryze today is because I played him in top quite recently, and I really think that the champion is very underrated in the top lane position. After this guide, I will probably do a Gangplank guide since it's been requested. I haven't really played a lot of Camille, so I probably won't do a guide on her in the near future. And I'm not really enjoying playing the pure tank champions right now because there's so many carry champions that are actually really good right now, and Ryze is, in my opinion, one of them. So starting things off with the masteries, on Ryze you pretty much always want to go the 12-18-0 mastery setup. The reason for this is because Storm Raider Surge is so extremely good on him, especially since when you're playing top you can't go Ghost because you need both teleport and flash, and it's really important to be able to run away from opponents as well as chasing them down. Storm Raider Surge also scales extremely well, and it's just overall for Ryze the best mastery. As for the runes, it's quite a specific page. It's actually scaling HP, movement speed, 10% scaling CDR for MR and magic penetration, and this is a page which you should run on Ryze and Vladimir in my opinion. Maybe there's one champion that I'm missing, but these two are generally the champions that really want this page, especially when you're playing them in top lane, because being able to run away from the opposing champions or from potential jungle ganks is extremely important because the lane is so long, and the more movement speed you have, basically the easier it is to get away from ganks. And it's also really important for the spacing of his combos to be able to follow the enemy champion while you're still casting spells, because obviously your character kind of stutters when you cast abilities, and if you don't have more movement speed than the opponent, they will eventually run away from you, and that's why it's really important to have the movement speed queens and also to go Storm Raider Surge. In the laning phase, if you're playing against melee characters, you basically want to make sure that you push them in using your E and Q to clear the wave really fast, and then you want to get vision and basically harass them as much as you can under turret. Ryze's E is a really fast ability, and it's really easy to get harassed off under the turret, and if you tag them with an E either by bouncing off creeps or actually just clicking the enemy champion, you can stay really far back and still get Qs onto them, because your Q has such a long range after the rework. Ryze isn't really a champion that you have to play safe with in lane, because he has such great mobility, and he also has good self-peel with his root, and he does have quite short cooldowns as well, and his build path isn't that terrible because tier actually gives him combat stats, unlike champions such as Ezreal, which only really gets mana throughout the early stages with tier. Ryze actually gets damage. If you're in a situation where you think you can die with Ryze, you want to make sure that you get the movement speed and the shield and also the longer root on the opponent. How you do this is that you E the target and then use W. This will generate 2 runes, and it will also root the opponent for a really long time. After this you unleash the 2 runes with your Q, and you then get the movement speed and the shield, and this makes it really hard for the opponents to kill you, even if you're getting ganked. Ryze also has extremely good wave clear. You want to make sure that your E is spread onto most of the creeps, and then you basically just unleash it with Q, and then you continue weaving E's and Q's. You can basically insta-clear waves, even in early game. Ryze also has extremely potent damage on neutral objectives. You basically want to make sure that you just weave your E and Q, and since your E is on about a 2-second cooldown even without much CDR, this means that you can do about 400 damage every 2 seconds, which is extremely strong. As for the build on Ryze, you pretty much always want to rush Rod of the Ages. After this you can go into either Sork boots or Lucidity boots. After this you want to go into Morellonomicon and Archangel Staff. It's also really important to buy a tier early on so you can stack it really early, and so you can get Archangel Staff as fast as possible. After these items you want to go into Void Staff and Rabadons most of the time, but you could also go Abyssal or Somnias if you're against a really fed AD or AP champion, and Guardian Angel if you're really scared of getting blown up in fights. In the later game you want to make sure that you use your teleport for teleport flanks or ganks. Ryze is actually a really good teleport champion because he has a lot of movement speed, he is quite durable once he gets his Archangel, and he also can root the opponents for up to 2 seconds, so he is actually a really good teleporter, and you want to make sure you utilize this. In this regard he's much better than the likes of Vladimir, for example. Same thing goes for his ultimate, which is also teleport, but you can also teleport your teammates. This however has a shorter range, but it can still be used in the same manner, and it can also be used as an escape. You want to make sure that you utilize the opportunities that present themselves, and as Ryze it's really important to have good map awareness so you can know when you can get a TP or a ult gank off. Obviously later in the game, when you have your full stacked tier and rod, and you've finished your AP items such as Rabadon's and Void Staff, Ryze is pretty much just a god. He has insane mobility with Storm Raider Surge. He is quite tanky because he has his built-in shield and movement speed, plus the Archangel shield, which for Ryze is about like 1000 shield, I think. So he's really tanky and he can basically one-shot carries, and his sustain damage is like through the roof. You want to make sure, however, that you get in good positions where you can actually hit carries if you are dependent on killing the enemy carries to win a team fight. In this case, you want to make sure that you get a flank off with your ultimate or stuff like that, or that you just approach them for a good angle for yourself. Anyways guys, thanks a lot for watching this guide. I hope you learned something. I would really recommend you to try out Ryze in your games, and I'll see you in the next one.